Go. Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lee, listen, it feels like I've been gone for 6 months. It's been 2 weeks. Okay. And by the way, I could just see this is how rusty I am, Lee. The microphone is literally about 4 feet from my face. There we go.
There we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to
You're
Campaign
back.
Kickoff Call. I am back. We had a holiday 2 weeks ago, and I was in Disney World for 12 days with my family. And I'm now detoxing from the Disney dining plan here, trying to basically eat as many vegetables as I possibly can. This great tan I have will fade in future Campaign Kickoff calls because it's 11 degrees here in Boston, but we'll enjoy it while it lasts. We are excited about today's session, Lee, because every Monday we host at 2 p.m. this call. And it's one of my favorite calls of the week because it gives us an opportunity as a community to come together, talk about the marketing plan this week, get you prepared for what the future is going to look like, share some insight, and then most importantly, get you out there doing the things you need to do to go out there and get more listings. Lee, before we dive into the actual campaigns, we have a lot to cover in 30 minutes, but I want to make sure that we set our community up for success. So could you just maybe give a quick high level overview of some of the housekeepings for campaign kickoff today, my friend?
Yep, absolutely. So we always record these sessions. There's a playlist on YouTube of all the prior ones if you want to go
Yep.
back or you're looking at prior templates or just want inspiration. And I always drop them in the Facebook group. So I will drop a link to the Facebook group. Be sure you join there. But we're always recorded. We always drop them there. Aside from that, Jimmy and I will run down the plan. Drop us your questions as we go. I'll do our best to answer them. If we can't get to them, make sure you email support@listingleads.com and we'll be sure to take care of you.
I love that. Thank you, Lee. All right. So, on that note, let's talk about this week in marketing. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And again, if you're a new member of Listing Leads, just put a W in the chat. Just let us know who's on today's call. If this is the first campaign kickoff call you've been a part of, just let us know that you're coming in from where you're coming in from. That way we can make sure we cover some of the basics here. Hey, Gabriella, welcome to the call. We could certainly have a lot of OGs who join us every single week. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So, Lee, there's a couple things that jump out to me. First thing is, if you're just new to Listing Leads, you're going to log into listingleads.com. You're going to, very first thing you're going to do is click on the listing attraction plan. Okay. This is where all of the magic is in Listing Leads. This is the plan that we develop for you every week based on what's happening in the market and then effectively helping you communicate that in a really clear and compelling way to get more conversations. I was thinking about this earlier today, Lee, just as a quick aside. And one of the things that I have observed in the world of marketing, because I've been doing marketing now for 15 years, and one thing I've noticed is there has been this sort of two trends that are no longer true that have really shaped and changed the way that we market. One of those changes has been that a traditional way an agent might generate business from for their real estate business might be like buying leads. And for many years, that has been the thing people have done is go out there and buy leads. And whereas that may have worked when the cost to acquire a lead was very low, there was still a lot of work involved in kind of the post follow up to actually get an ROI from that. The second thing I've seen is people maybe didn't buy leads, they go buy software. Software that does a bunch of things, all of which are great, but the software is simply a tool, it is not a strategy. And so when I look at an agent's business, team leader's business, a broker's business, oftentimes I see they have leads. They maybe buy them Zillow Flex leads, Zillow Premier Agent leads, Google leads, Facebook leads, you name it. Or they're using some type of series of tools and they're creating all this complexity, but not an increase in productivity.
Right. It's motion. It feels good sometimes.
It feels good, but it's not real productivity. And what I have observed, and one of the reasons why we're so passionate about what we do at Listing Leads, is that yeah, software matters, but the strategy matters. What exactly are we doing right now to have more conversations and get more customers? And at the essence of what we talk about at Listing Leads is only sort of three things you're going to have to remember. First, and this is probably the most important thing, is the way to grow your real estate business is to have more conversations. That's number one. That's always number one is talk. Like I talked to my friend Nick Slocum, whose dad, Phil Slocum's been in the business now for 50 plus years. They're in the Rhode Island area. He says, Jimmy, the key to success in real estate is TTP, talk to people. And if that doesn't work, it's TTMP, talk to more people. And so I'm reminded of this idea that the whole point of all of this stuff, emails, text, social, posts, is to have conversations. The way you have more conversations, number two, is to focus on creating more content, right? Is posting more, sharing more, emailing more, texting more. Volume matters in this space. Volume matters. Like you can't, it's really hard to build a real estate business if you're just doing one thing every single month. I talked to an agent recently who's like, Jimmy, I'm doing like one email per my month per to my database per month. So like, I don't want to overwhelm them. I'm like, you are not overwhelming anybody
You're underwhelming them. I'm sorry.
with one
I'm
email per
sorry to
month.
say.
I'm sorry. I'm like, it ain't happening.
And
And
then what to say, right? So that you've got multiple bottlenecks in the process.
that's right. And number three is focusing on quality, right? Is this idea of like you want to be focusing on having conversations. The way you have more conversations is you produce more consistently. The way you actually produce more consistently, which ultimately is how you get results, is you get produce quality work. You can't do quality without consistency because you figure out what doesn't work and what does work. You know, I was talking to my buddy Chris Smith this morning, because him and I are partners in the business called Beacon, and he's like, hey Jimmy, let's compare email metrics. He's like, you have a higher unsubscribe rate than I do, right? Beacon versus listing leads. I said, sure, man, I get a higher unsubscribe rate, but look at the difference. We have 30% more unsubscribes, which relatively speaking is not that much. But I'm like, I've had 600,000 people open on my emails this past month. You've had 200,000. And we were just joking about this, and Chris already knows all this stuff, by the way. He's an expert marketer, but we talk about like, sometimes like you tell yourself a story around marketing. They're like, oh no, like what do you actually care about? Do you care about
Right.
getting more exposure,
What are
or
you
do you care about
measuring?
having, slightly higher increase in
And
unsubscribes?
again, are your actions, I think a lot of us are guilty. I can say when I was in production are guilty of the motion without, forward progress. You can do a lot of things, right? You can send
That
one more this or make one more phone call, which you should, but
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Lee. All right, so let's get into the plan this week. Monday, as always, deal of the week. Deal of the week is the sort of, it's a little engine that could. For those of you who don't know, deal of the week is a simple campaign where every week we basically say, hey, here's the best deal of the week. Deal of the week in single family homes in Auburn, New Hampshire. This is a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. It just hit the market in this neighborhood and is already turning heads. Only 3 days on the market and we're already seeing 675 views on Zillow. Here's the details. Would you like me to send you more details? This is the email. Now the way this works is, if you're unfamiliar with this concept, and trust me, for those of you who have seen me talk about this, my buddy Sharon popularized this concept. uh, this concept is very simple. All you're trying to do is get someone to raise their hand. Now, it's built on the principle, which is the three most important words in sales, which you hear me say all the time for all my OGs. And it's probably the biggest kind of aha I had last year, which is three most important words in sales: bring something new. So when you focus on the deal of the week, all you're trying to do is find the most viral listing in your market, the home that you believe is going to sell the fastest, the home that has the most views and saves on Zillow or on Redfin, the hot home of the week on Redfin, whatever that might be, right? A home that just had a massive price reduction and now is really aggressively priced compared to the other homes in the area. The point is, every single week you bring something new, but then you're packaging it in a way which is designed to have a conversation. So just giving them a link or giving them the information, giving them the price, giving the location, it stunts your ability to get someone to reply, which is the whole point of this email. So Monday is deal of the week. As always, when a campaign's working, we always recommend extending it to a different channel. So this is an example of a campaign, which is deal of the week, just extended to a Instagram story. So every week we provide you an Instagram story. Open this up in Canva and you can edit this for your own deal of the week. But essentially it's like, hey, here's the best deal of the area. You wouldn't necessarily show the exact pin on the map. This is going to just meant to be a representation of this, but you post this as an Instagram story. And Lee, I cannot emphasize how much of a hidden marketing channel Instagram stories are. So I'm a huge fan, huge believer that if you use Instagram stories consistently, along with Instagram posts and reels, you could be generating 5 to 10 additional deals a year. Okay. I mean, it can become the most profitable, other than email, the most profitable marketing channel for you in terms of cost, time, and return.
And
And
yeah, and Jimmy, just to be super clear on that too, the email of the week is going to people you're already connected with, right? You have their email.
mhm.
This is reaching a different audience. This is friends of friends, or this is people in your area, or people who like, yoga in Auburn, or whatever that is.
Clearly,
So
you've never
new
been to
people.
Auburn League because no
Uh,
one in
uh,
Auburn does yoga. Okay.
Fair. Okay, fair.
I'm telling you.
I'm
But no,
coming. Watch out.
you're exactly right. Which is the idea is you want to engage your existing database and you want to grow your database, which is exactly what Lee is saying here. So Monday, deal of the week. And we have a free tool we'll drop a link to where you can check it out. Obviously, this is something that we automate entirely through Better Email, which we'll get you a link towards the end of today's call, talk more about that. Let's move on to Tuesday's email. So this is going to sound like a lot, by the way, because we're like, hey, we want you emailing more than once a month, and it's already Tuesday, and you've already sent 2 emails. That's the point. The first part of the week is really around engaging your database. Monday and Tuesday, engaging your database. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and beyond, you can convert your
Do the
database.
work.
So I read a stat about this a couple days ago. I'm not sure. Did everyone, let me know in the chat, put a W in the chat. Did you see BAM's article on the stat that the number of people who are searching can't sell my home has gone up to reach its all-time high? Did you guys see that? Like that article? I mean, like, yeah, Sue, Sharon. So as soon as I saw that, shout out to my friends over at BAM, Byron and Eric. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this is such a good opportunity to communicate to your database. Because one of the best ways to overcome an objection is to address it before it happens. And so what I did is I wrote an email for you this week. Thanks, Lee. And the email is, why are so many homeowners searching this? And I'll zoom in on the email. It says, why are so many homeowners searching this? This surprised me. Searches for can't sell my house just hit a record high. This usually means one thing. A lot of sellers are about to learn a hard lesson. What I'm doing with this email here, Lee, is we're trying to raise the stakes, kind of increase the intensity.
Right.
This is like, this is everything we're doing is for a reason. We're trying to increase it. Like, hey, this is like, I'm trying to build some narrative around this campaign. Here's what's really happening. One overpriced home can drag down the entire street. When a neighbor lists their house high, cuts later, buyers assume everything nearby is negotiable. This affects you way more than any Zestimate ever will. Buyers aren't gone. They're cautious. They're scanning for risks. Homes that are properly prepared for the market get offers. You don't want buyer surprise at the last minute. And finally, number three, marketing creates leverage. When more qualified buyers see a home early, sellers keep control. When exposure is weak, price becomes the only lever that's left. Now, this is the killer line. Most homeowners don't realize this until they're already on the market. Just sharing with you what we're seeing right now. P.S. If you ever want to know how your home will perform before you list, just reply to this email. A quick answer is better than guessing. So, Lee, this is what we refer to as a value-based email. And like I mentioned before, bring something new. Bring something new being the best sales advice I heard in 2025. It's become a mantra of mine. Bring something new. There's two different things you can bring: stats and stories. Stats. This is a stat that I'm building an entire campaign around. So, by the way, in the chat, do you think you could use this as a video script, right? For maybe a post this week on Instagram? Like how many of you would like maybe shoot a video just like talking about this, using this as a baseline, right? Of course you could. Like a video script would be awesome, right, for this campaign. And Shelly asked a great question. Would you include a link to the article with the email? No. Generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of sourcing. You should know where it came from, right? But we're not writing, college essays here. We don't need to have the little like annotation to basically say this is where the source was. You should
Yeah. The
definitely
magic, the magic is in the doing and the speed. I was thinking about that
correct.
earlier.
Yep.
The fact that this is in your system ready to go out tomorrow is the difference. This will
That's what
be
that,
all
that's
the news in 2 weeks, but you're going to ship it today.
That's exactly right. And I think one of the things that I like to do is this is kind of why I've never been a big fan of automated action plans because automated action plans are not reacting to what's happening in the market. They're just simply something that someone wrote, 24 months ago that you're kind of using. And fine, they're useful in certain situations, but not for really nurturing and engaging your database. Okay, so let me come back to strategy. This is the campaign, but again, strategy. Strategy is Monday we're posting on Instagram. We're trying to spark a few leads. Monday, we're emailing our leads to engage them with the deal of the week. Tuesday, we're emailing our entire database because we want to bring them something new. Now, what has happened is if I got 1,000 people in my database, I've got a bunch of people who just opened up an email, a bunch of people who clicked, a bunch of people who engaged. Now I want to start following up with text messages. And so if you're real quick, if you're unfamiliar with listing leads, on the left side, we have all of our voice and text scripts that we've written for you. So these are all scripts, many of them very timely, some of them that are maybe more evergreen, but these are examples of like all the, and we've written now like we've actually probably written like 1,000 scripts and we've only published about, I think, 124 between voice and text, right? And so every week we come up with a campaign. So I'm going to pull this one in, which is called the open loop. And so I want to be clearly, I'm only texting people who have opened up email number one or email number two.
Right. We're
Okay.
narrowing the funnel. We don't want to, we want to email a lot of people, text a couple of people, talk to the ones that want to work.
That's right. And I think, and I'm not saying cold calling is dead, Lee, but I'm saying it's on
Sure.
life support.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I say that is because yes, you could still get business from cold calling, but if it's untargeted and it's irrelevant, it's a very bad use of your time.
Jimmy, I think the difference is to, yeah, to your point, this is easily executable and quickly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you know, yeah. And again, done is better than perfect.
Yep, that's exactly right. And so, by the way, Sue had a great point here. My market is still fast. Couple days on market, not much is lingering. Let me just take a quick detour before we talk about text of the week and show you guys something we've been working on. So we're now beginning to roll this out. But Sue, under email campaigns, you'll see there's an example of an email of the week. I'm going to pull this one up here as an example. And in this email, Sue, you're going to scroll down and you're going to see we now have a field. You guys got to tell me in the chat, like, let me know if you love this feature because we've been working hard behind the scenes. We now have a field where you can change the campaign based on your current market conditions. Are you in a hot seller's market like Sue? If I click that, this campaign will adjust so the copy of this campaign is specific to someone in that
Pretty
market.
amazing.
Were you in a hot seller market, but now it's beginning to cool? Are you in a balanced market? Are you in an emerging buyer's market? Or are you in a full-fledged buyer's market? So we're going to be beginning, just so you guys know, because we got some great feedback in the chat. Like we are going to begin to have every campaign going forward. It will likely be, just to give people context, it'll likely be starting next week with email for sure. But by the end of the month, every campaign, you will be able to adjust based on your market conditions. Now we'll create a setting so you can just update your profile. That way you
Yeah.
don't have to like remember which
Right. Every
campaign it
time.
is. Yeah, which would be really useful. But Sue, great. I'm really glad you brought it up. This is a new feature. Definitely let us know in the chat, like if you guys like this feature, because this is where our heads are going to make sure that it's so easy for you to take the idea we have for your campaign and say, you know what, I love it, but
Right.
I'm in a market where I've got 8 months inventory, Jimmy. Or like Sue, I'm in a market where like nothing's really saying, Jimmy. I got like we're still pre-COVID inventory levels, as an example. Um,
Right.
so we'll definitely be adding that across the platform. So coming
And
back to
just
the tech,
favoriting, you went through it pretty quick, but just favoriting, that's a newer feature too. The fact that there's a template you like and want to use consistently to do the update with, you can easily favorite it and find it
yeah,
anytime.
that's exactly right. So you could favorite a campaign. It's now available in your favorites. And also now that we're covering new features, if you guys haven't done so already, connect your calendar. We will actually sync your calendar. You can see here I have my calendar synced. And actually, this just tells you how good our team is. Our team has actually already updated this in the market conditions where you can change this and set this. Um,
In calendar.
yeah,
That's
so in the
insane.
mark, so I could save my templates here. My team actually already did this without me even
Somebody
knowing
worked
it.
this, somebody worked this weekend.
Someone's working on the weekend. Claude's working over the weekend here, Lee. Uh, but we also have the ability to connect your calendar. We'll save that for later in the call, but just at a high level, we can sync the plan to your calendar so you never miss a day. All right, so text of the week. I'll click on this and walk you through this. Hey, Lee, it's Jimmy. There are a few things happening in the market right now that I think more people should be paying attention to. Again, building some urgency, raising some stakes. I put together a short breakdown of what I'm seeing. Would it be helpful if I shared it with you? So, Lee, this is what I would refer to as sort of a value-based text. And I'll tell you exactly what I would do if I was an agent. And my buddy Brad Winters has been doing this. So hasn't Scott Stedman been doing this, which is I would actually take the last 12 months of data from my MLS and I would throw it into Claude and I'd say, I want you to analyze this data and I want you to identify the 5 most interesting trends that serious buyers and serious sellers should know. And what's so crazy about AI right now is that AI has some incredible core skills. Coding software is one of them. Writing copy is one of them. But one of them is analyzing data that's really hard for humans to figure out. That takes a long time. So what I would be doing if I was you, this is a great text message, but you're like, hey Jimmy, I don't know what the breakdown I should create is. Go to Claude today, upload the last 12 months from your MLS, use that exact prompt, post it. It will kick out insanely useful insight around price inventory, or around price trends, around inventory shifts, around maybe buyer demand shifts, around what they're seeing at different prices and different levels. But this is something I would be doing on a regular basis, by the way, if I was an agent, because there's so much gold in your database, in your MLS data, that's not really on Zillow, that's not in Altos Research, but it's just spreadsheets. It's raw data. It's unprocessed. You could use that to do exactly what you can do to create really interesting content. Uh, so this campaign, to be clear, I would love for you to send this out to 15, 20 people a day based on who's opened the email. So Lee, again, as a reminder, on Monday, I'm doing deal of the week. On Tuesday, I'm doing the email of the week. On Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I am sending out 15 to 20 text messages to anybody who's opened up the email on Monday and on Tuesday. Let me stop there, Lee, for any questions or any other commentary.
Yeah, I think we're good. And I like the way you laid it out. I think we often say that, but I think the way you did it just now is better. It really is kind of what hat are you wearing today?
Yep.
Today I'm shipping the marketing hat. Tina, I'll drop you a link for that. It's gonna be a link either way, maybe bookmark it. But yeah, just having that process again,
That's a great call, Lee. That's a great call out, which is I love the frame you just used there, Lee. What hat are you wearing today? And so on Monday and Tuesday, I'm wearing the let me engage my database hat.
right, you get your megaphone.
Yeah, I mean, let me just engage my database hat. On Wednesday through Saturday, I'm like, let me put my sales hat on and let me start some more conversations. Now, one of the things that we know to be true is that you always got to be engaging, you always got to be converting, but you always have to be growing. And so, along the same lines, you'll see here. Here's an example of a Instagram story we're using to generate more leads. So, and this is an example we saw that's been really effective, which it's kind of giving away a little bit partial information. Just analyze all the home buyer activity from February. These are the hottest price ranges right now in this area, this area, this area. Do you want to see the rest? So this is really based on, if you go back to that text script, the research you do for your MLS here for this campaign here, Lee, all we're
Right.
saying is repurpose that.
Just use it again. And then
Use it
what, Friday you
again.
could make a long form video talking about it?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And so, like, one of the things I think is really important is when it comes to these campaigns, like we're always trying to repurpose our campaigns, not just for one channel, but for whatever channels are appropriate. Okay, so that's the Thursday campaign, which is the Instagram poll using the data we just analyzed in our MLS. Now, finally, you guys got to let me know in the chat: is YouTube a priority? Are you trying to generate more business from YouTube in 2026? Like just put a W in the chat if that's the case. Are you trying to generate more business from YouTube in 2026? Some of you are like, absolutely. A few of you are like, no, not this year. Totally fine. But most of you are doing that, are looking to it. Lee, let me say one thing, which is I'm going all in on YouTube this year. A little bit of a slower start.
Yeah.
I'm just like you guys. I'm really consistent with a few channels, but one of them YouTube has been one that we've had good success with, but we have to be more consistent with. I'm going all in on YouTube this year. Uh, Tom Ferry, myself, and Jason Pantana launched a podcast called Growth Mode. We did our first season last year. We got like 3,000 subscribers, a couple 100,000 views. Did really well. We are seeing like so much momentum around YouTube that we don't, to be fair, we haven't seen on like social media short form reels. Meaning, it's like, my buddy Sharon used to call it time on brand. Like YouTube undeniably is the best time on brand marketing asset you could build. So whether you've got like 100 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers or whatever it is, if you can get someone to watch 3, 5, 7 minutes of a video, I mean, that's a very powerful, powerful tool to have in your disposal. So what I'm going to pull up here real quick so you can see this is every week we publish a video of the week. In the video of the week, we find an example of a viral video. So this is Wilson, who generated a video that had 18,000 views. And this is a video which is they don't live in this area unless you can handle these 5 facts. Okay. Now, what we found to be true, this is going to be a little bit controversially, but like what we found to be true is like negative or controversial videos do much better than like positive uplifting videos. Bad for society, good for views, right?
Yeah.
So we just see that kind of over and over and over again here. And
But a lot of times when you watch the video, again, in the name of educating people, a lot of times you watch the video, it's not that per se. That's the thumbnail that gets the eyeballs that gets people to watch. If they were doom and gloom, people wouldn't be watching 20 minutes of video.
that's exactly right. A lot of these videos are really well done, very unbiased, very objective, very useful. And so in this breakdown, we basically say, hey, here's the show flow of the video. Here's the Canva template. Here's the content you need to post the video. And then you could use an example of a thumbnail. But we give you everything you need to be able to create a video. Now, notably, this is part of our content vault. So if I click on it, you can see here on the left-hand side, best YouTube videos. We have literally 752 of the best real estate videos. We update this every week. Every week, 752 of the best real estate videos on the internet that you can use for inspiration. And we just make sure that every week we're featuring one for you. Say, hey, at the very minimum, just do this. And the beauty of this, Lee, is that if you follow the plan, you can go from posting 0 videos a year
Yep.
to posting 45 to 50 videos a year. If you do that, in addition to emailing, in addition to social, in addition to texting, you will have the best year of your entire career. Now, YouTube is, again, we kind of create this as an optional thing. I would say if I'm new to listing leads, the first thing I'm focused on right now is email. And as I get comfortable with doing email, I'm going to introduce texting. As I get comfortable with texting, I'm going to introduce short form social or social stories. And then once I feel really comfortable with all those, then I'm going to add in YouTube. That's the kind of
Yeah.
order that I would recommend following if you're new to listing leads or you're just trying to get ramped up, especially this spring market.
Yeah,
So
Jimmy, Peggy had another question right along those lines. It's great. Just your thoughts on like a YouTube short versus long form. And I think I might know your answer, but I'd love to hear it.
the answer is Peggy is it's uh generally speaking, short form does not compound the same way YouTube does. If you follow some of the most like prolific creators on Instagram as an example, oftentimes the benefit of growing your following is that more people will see your stories. But there isn't this sort of like direct parallel between like you get 100,000 followers and then every video gets 70,000 views. It doesn't really happen that way. So in some respects, the the stories with lead gen polls are you benefit tremendously from having a lot of followers that are engaged. Your reels, on the other hand, they're almost entirely feels like these days driven algorithmically by just, how the first couple hundred people respond to it. So meaning certain videos that you produce, I've seen creators who have, 100,000 followers get videos that have like 300 views, 500 views, 1,000 views. On the flip side, I've seen creators who have, 1,000 followers get 100,000 views. And so followers are really important for stories, not so important for reels, is my experience. Now, long form video, on the other hand, the great thing about long form video is that when you publish a video on long form, as you grow your subscribers, as an example, your floor continues to rise.
Right.
Not saying every video is going to go viral and have 25,000 views, but if you have like 10,000 subscribers, you're probably going to get like 1,000, 1,500 views every time you publish,
Right. And
which
then use
is
your social not to get into a deep marketing lesson, but then use your other social channels to drive to that. Use your email to drive to that. Use, send videos in your emails. Yeah,
that's right.
it really, I think, it sort of goes without saying, but it bears saying. Um, we're building habits here. And again, like we said before with the hats or whatever that is, if your habit is like, ooh, this would make a great video, and you get used to making a video, even if you feel like it's dumb and putting it out there, in 6 months, you're gonna be like, wow, I have a bunch of subscribers and a bunch of videos. And that's just how it works.
That's right. It is, we use a phrase, familiarity breeds trust. And so if you're looking to have an amazing year in your business and you just want to stop like trying to guess, like you're just like tired of like figuring out how to find customers, and you're like, okay, well, one of the ways to do that is follow the plan. Send the emails, send the text, post on social, do the videos. Don't overthink it. Don't get caught in the weeds. Don't overanalyze. Just get wildly consistent doing that. Spend 5 hours a week just making sure you are that person, and like you're gonna see a lot of the challenges you have around getting customers kind of fades to the distance. Now you're just focused on more on servicing and scaling the business. And so I am just a huge fan, Lee. I'm a huge fan of the plan, the way we organize it, because it's not just content, it's a strategy. And so every Monday, 2 p.m., we host this call. We go through each every individual campaign with you as a way to make sure we give you some context around the strategy. Go out there and execute the plan. As a reminder, we will be doing additional listing leads basics trainings. We host those on Tuesdays on every other week. Lee, when's the next basics training coming up?
Well, that's a great question. It's going to be next Tuesday at
Okay.
2 p.m. Eastern. And I will
Yeah.
post that in the Facebook group and the link's available.
We'll share the link as well. And we are also, just as a quick aside, Better Email is growing. I mean, we're going to get some amazing feedback. We love you guys. This is a category we're really committed to as a company. People are looking for us to help automate a lot of this plan. So Better Email is a new business that we launched, new product. We will be doing additional training on that this week. We'll get you some more information about that as well. We've made some big changes internally, improving our infrastructure, improving the team, growing the team, all very good things on that front. But this is Listing Leads Campaign Kickoff Call. We appreciate you guys being a part of today's session. If you have any questions, reach out to our support at listingleads.com. And of course, share your wins in the mastermind group. Ask marketing questions in the mastermind group. That's what I'm there. I'm there every day, all day, posting, sharing, interacting, engaging. We just want to see you win. That's why we're doing all of this. Thank you guys so much for being a part of today's session, and I will see you next week.